You're listening to the Water Prairie Chronicles, a podcast that supports parents of children with disabilities by sharing the stories of individuals who have grown up with disabilities and the organizations available to help parents along the way.
Do you have a sensory sensitive child and feel like visiting a kids' museum is too much stimulus for them? In today's episode, Hardin Engelhardt, the Vice President of Engagement at Marbles Kids Museum in Raleigh, North Carolina, talks with Tonya during a special sensory-friendly play event held at the museum last month. Let's join Tonya and Hardin as they talk about what the museum has to offer for your child with a disability.
We're here tonight at the Marbles Kids Museum in Raleigh, North Carolina. And our guest is Hardin Engelhardt. Hardin is the Vice President of Engagement at Marbles. I know some of our listeners are not familiar with Marbles at all. So can you give us a general description of what Marbles is?
Sure. Marbles is a children's museum in downtown Raleigh. Our mission is to spark imagination, discovery, and learning through play. Our museum is very hands-on, play-based. Our core audience is 2 to 10-year-olds, but we serve kids younger and older and their families. We also have an Imax Theater as part of our organization that shows educational documentaries and feature films as they are available. So our core product is just coming to play in the museum, but in addition we have special family events, we have camps, we are an event rental facility for weddings and things like that. So all kinds of things going on at Marbles all the time.
So I was looking through the website and some of your promotional materials, and I see the word play listed everywhere. Why is play so important?
So play is the way that children learn. We know that play supports social and emotional well-being, physical health. Play helps families connect with each other, helps kids form connections with other children and other adults. And Marbles is a place that everyone in our community comes to play. We're very proud that anytime you come here to Marbles, you'll see the full diversity of our community playing here. And so we feel that it's a way for people to kind of build bridges with each other across our community and kind of come together and learn about each other, which is even more critical as we emerge from this pandemic.
Yes, absolutely. So I've seen some, when I was looking through the website, I saw different references to this, but what age is Marbles geared toward? And in addition to that, is it just for that age group?
Sure. So we say that our sweet spot is 2 to 8-year-olds, but we do have children younger and older playing here. We have school group programs for preschool through grade 8. We have a large teen play corps volunteer program. So we have rising 6th graders through high school students who grew up playing at Marbles and don't want to stop. And so now they volunteer here with us. We had our Princess Tea last weekend, and we had some of our teen play corps volunteers there. And I said, hey, did you guys come to Princess Tea when you were kids? And they shared all kinds of stories about, yes, they'd come to Princess Tea, and these were their memories, and they were just thrilled to be able to make it happen for a new generation of kids.
Fun. Do you have adult activities too?
We sure do. So lots of adults love to come to our Imax Theater. We have the largest screen in North Carolina, so a lot of movie aficionados will come see their movies here. And then in addition, 4 times a year, we have our 21 Marbles events, we're only open for adults to come and play. And those are themed. Our next one is coming up at the end of the month, and it's a Harry Potter theme, so that's always very popular. And we have a couple of other events. We have our Big Idea Forum, which is kind of a luncheon for folks to come and learn about play and get inspired to bring play into their work environments. So that's coming up in March. And we have a speaker, Catherine Pierce, who just released a book called The Power of Fun, which I'm reading now. And it's all about how important it is for us as adults to weave play into our daily lives. And we have our Imagination Ball, which is a gala, a fundraising gala, lots of fun, music, great food, silent auction.
Fun. I knew I didn't realize there was that much. I knew I'd seen the 21
Marbles?
Yeah, that one. But I had not been aware of the other things. So
yes.
That's fun to hear. So some basic questions about the museum itself. So how much are the tickets currently? Now this, if you're looking at this 2 years from now, I can't guarantee it'll be the same, but what are the tickets now?
So our tickets are $9 for everyone over age 1. And we do offer memberships for people who plan to come and play a lot. So if you're planning to be here on a regular basis, that's a really great deal. And then we're currently open Wednesday through Sunday. We're closed currently on Mondays and Tuesdays. But on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, we have play late for less. So after 3 o'clock, the admission is half price.
Okay.
In addition, we work really hard to make sure that cost is never a barrier for people to come and play at Marbles. So we have some access programs. We call them our full circle access programs, and we work with other nonprofits serving vulnerable children and families in the community.
Nice.
To make sure that they can come and play, whether it's we give them passes or free field trips. We have camp scholarships. So we want everyone to come and play.
Nice. I know our children, because we live near the area, they came as part of their elementary school years and loved it. And that was my first exposure, was coming as a chaperone to some of those. So Hardin mentioned the kids play core program. Our daughter Emily was the first group that came in. So so she was here for 5 years, I believe, with you, and hated aging out of that.
Yes.
So she even wore her neck lanyard that you gave her at graduation at school.
Aww.
So,
Good.
So it was fun. So I know how much they are. How do you purchase the tickets?
So we were closed from March 2020 until September 2020, although we did run our summer camps in a new way, summer
Nice.
2020. So that was an adventure. But what we did do while we were closed was we accelerated new software point of sale system implementation. So it's supposed to be an 18-month process, and we accelerated that and had it in place in 6 months, right before we reopened. And so now we have online ticketing. So you go on our website, you make an account the first time around, and then you purchase your tickets online. And we plan to keep that system in place ongoing, because it allows us to control our capacity. So we were bursting at the seams pre-pandemic with if the weather was bad, we'd have 3,000 people here, which is too many people. So now we're able to control our capacity and also spread people out throughout the day, because everyone wants to come at 10 o'clock.
Right.
But if 10 o'clock is sold out, then they'll purchase another time. So
is that the only way to purchase tickets now is online?
It is. Yep.
Okay.
It is.
So we talked about some of the activities that you have, and some of the major events. You talked about the Princess Tea, and is that just for girls coming in?
Absolutely not.
I was thinking there were some boy things there.
We have some princes and superheroes that come to that too. And we have other special events. We have our Halloween event, which is Kooky Spooky. We brought those, our special Kooky Spooky was the first special event that we brought back this fall. So we have Kooky Spooky, our Halloween event. We have Evening with Elves, which is our holiday event. We have a gingerbread jamboree event, and then we have the Princess Tea, as well as some of those adult events that I mentioned.
And are those on the website? How do you find those events to know what they are?
So that we have on the website, there is a tab that says, I think, events and programs, and so you can go on that and see what all of our events and programs are, and that will also take you to online ticketing for our events as well.
Good. So you can check as other things may be rolling out in the future with that.
And movie tickets are also an online purchase now.
Okay. So, and the movie, when she spoke about the Imax earlier, that's the movie tickets that we're talking about. Now that we have a better idea of what the museum itself entails, I want to think now about our special needs community. So, because our listeners, for the most part, have children with disabilities. We also have special education teachers that are listening and different professionals, and so they can pass this on to their clientele as well. But thinking about those disabilities, specifically ones that are blind and visually impaired. So what accommodations have you made for that group itself?
So when people let us know ahead of time that they have they're blind or have visual disabilities, we're able, and they let us know ahead of time, we're able to have a team member support their visit, kind of accompany them on their visit, whether that's to support the child or to support a parent who has issues with vision. So that's one of our accommodations specifically for kids who are blind or have low vision.
Yeah, I'm going to walk through different specific ones,
Sure.
just because as you're looking through the way that the indexing is on both podcast and video, you can search through the audio.
Okay.
And so if someone's looking for specific areas, maybe we can help get them that information a little bit easier that way. So on your maps or your brochures, do you have Braille or large print?
We do not have Braille. We are able to print out the large print for folks as needed.
Okay, and is it available digitally if they were to use a phone or an iPad?
Everything is available digitally now.
So, which is sometimes the easiest way to access these days. For our children coming in, or even parents coming in that have wheelchairs, how accessible is the museum for them?
So we, all of our exhibits, we follow universal design practices so that all of our exhibits are accessible to anyone with any kind of physical disabilities and to kids and adults in wheelchairs. So anything that has a step, you'll find that there's a ramp. We have, if there's a table, we have tables at different levels to make sure that all children can play with all the things.
Well, I was thinking that would be maybe an easier one too, because your children are different heights too. So that would maybe help. But can the wheelchairs get in close enough for the children to be able to play if they're in the wheelchair?
Yes. So in the universal design principles, they give you the specifications that you need to follow in order to accommodate, turning radiuses and things like that.
And I know coming in, we're on the second floor right now. We use the elevator. So I know there's an elevator to get up, and I saw the ramps in different places. There's even an outdoor dry creek that has a ramp over that. So so you'll be able to get from point A to point B pretty easily. Sure. For our kids who are deaf or hearing impaired, accommodations for that group.
So again, when we know in advance, we're able to support those visits with a team member who can help. And we also have had several field trip groups come, and so the teachers will bring some of those accommodations. When requested in advance, we're also able to provide for sign language.
Oh, good. Do any of your interactive displays have audio as part of them?
Very few. We try to be as tech-free as possible here, so very few.
Okay, so it should all be accessible for them. Good. So for our families coming in who maybe have multiple children and they need a personal care attendant with one of their children, can you accommodate for that, and how do they purchase their tickets for that individual? The ticket is not required for a personal care attendant. You can find details about all of that on our website. We have an accessibility page on our website that kind of spells out that. So we do allow for personal care attendants. We do have some therapists who will come and see children here in the space, and so that is also free if it's arranged in advance. And we do also allow for their service animals to come. Good. I was going to ask about that too.
Yep.
For those listening and watching the video, sometimes you may have, if you have a very young child right now, you may have an occupational therapist or physical therapist asked to meet you somewhere. And so this would be a great place for them to see your child playing in a relaxed environment and be able to take some evaluations with them that way, or maybe to put them in different situations where they can test some different skills that's harder to do at your home. That's typically going to be our infants and preschool age group. But
we also have therapists who are kind of helping parents understand how to best navigate being in public spaces too.
Oh, a great place to come and completely have your child transfixed with something else while you're trying to learn these things. With our sensory sensitivity group. So tonight we're specifically here for a sensory event, but what are some of the things that you're doing for that group if they were to come during a regular playtime?
Sure. So tonight is our sensory-friendly playtime, so we're open exclusively for kids with disabilities and their families for free in a kind of lower sensory environment, and we bring in partners who also provide services to connect parents with some resources that they may not be aware of. So we love doing that, and families have told us that's very important to them. So there is that push for inclusivity and not exclusivity, but parents have said that they really appreciate being able to come when it is just families like them. So we heard that, and we'll keep those exclusive days. And our team loves to work on sensory-friendly playtime days, but I have to remind the team, we have kids with disabilities playing here on those nights, but every day we have kids of all abilities playing at marbles, and so you are doing this work anytime you are at work. So we make sure that the museum is accessible, welcoming, and for any child, any day. We have some special, in addition to the universal design that helps with accessibility, we also have some special tools and resources that families can use. So we have a Plan Your Play kit, so kids can have an idea of what to expect before they come and play.
Okay, good.
Helps with transitions too. We have some special maps that will show you where some of the quieter areas are if your kid needs a break, and maybe where some of the more stimulating areas are that you may want to avoid. So that's a resource. And we also have tools that parents can check out. So some noise canceling headphones, weighted blankets, some fidgets, those sorts of things.
Oh, good. So it sounds like this is going to be a perfect place to come no matter what your child's issues may be. so
There's
that
also
the whole
quieter-
family can come.
Exactly. There's also quieter times of the day, year, and week too that we can recommend if you want to come at a time where it's not as busy. So afternoon, any weekday afternoon tends to be quieter, and then weekends are busier, but weekend later in the afternoon also tends to be quieter.
If they call the main number for the museum, can they ask those times so does someone actually answer when they call in, or is it going to an automated system?
We pick up the phone when we're open.
Good. So if you are in the area, and those of you that are from out of state, if you're traveling into North Carolina, this would be a great resource for you to think about coming maybe as part of your vacation. And so they could call ahead of time and figure out what it is, make their appointment on the website so they know what time they're coming in.
We will return to 7-day-a-week operations starting this June.
Oh, good.
So when we return to 7-day-a-week operations, in addition to afternoons being quieter, our Mondays will be a group-free day. So that'll keep it.
So field trips won't be coming in during that time. Okay, good. All right. So for this night, the sensory friendly activity, what is it called? Sensory friendly
playtime.
Sensory friendly playtime. How often do you offer those?
We offer them monthly. We brought those back for the first time in June. We started a new July 4th celebration and tradition, because we did it once. It's now an annual thing.
Right, exactly.
So we were closed to the general public on July 4th and only opened for several hours in the morning for kids with disabilities and their families. And that was a great way for them to be able to celebrate July 4th, because July 4th isn't super
I really like that.
sensory friendly. Also on our sensory friendly playtime days or nights, we have a Lights Up, Sound Down movie in our Imax Theater.
Oh, nice.
Which is great for kids with disabilities. And we also have them kind of sporadically, because it's also great for little kids who may be their first movie and the dark is scary and the noise is scary. So the Lights Up, Sound Down is a great option too.
Oh, good. So they can sign up for that regularly, just the tickets. Are those nights marked on the IMAX
They
night
are.
as well?
So we always do one at 5 o'clock on any day that we're doing the sensory friendly playtime, and that's free then too. When we do it at other times, those are ticketed.
Okay. Well, this is a nice resource to the community that there's no charge for these nights too, because I had not realized that.
Well, one other thing we have we have 4 times a year we have an event called Family School Partnership Days. So Wake County Public School preschool classrooms that serve mostly children with special needs or kids who are academically at risk. 4 times a year. They have it every month. They have a day called Family School Partnership Day where they don't go to school and they do other things. So there might be parent-teacher conferences, or teachers might do home visits, or they go on a field trip. So 4 times a year we say no to other school groups and we only invite all of those classrooms here to play.
Nice.
So that's also a day when we have a lot of kids and families with special needs here with their classes and their teachers. We bring in a lot of partners, again, to connect families with resources, and we add in some extra programming that aligns with whatever the curriculum they're studying at that time.
I know before COVID you had the kindergarten night or daytime. Do you still have that?
We brought that back this year too.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Good.
And then another program we have is called Ready, Set, School. We've been doing this for about 5 years now. So that's a program where we serve children 3 to 5 who have no preschool or daycare and who are likely to attend one of Wake County Public Schools' lower performing schools. So it's a way we're bolstering the kid and the family's school success, but also the school's success. So they come, it's a 4-week series. They come for 4 sessions. They have a parent-child class. They have dinner together. There's a parent workshop. They play in the museum. And if they come to all 4 sessions, they get a museum membership. So we are serving a lot of at-risk children there too. Kind of a sweet story. 2 weeks ago, we had a mom who showed up for Ready, Set, School. She was not registered for Ready, Set, School, but she had heard about it and applied. And they had just moved here from India 3 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And her son is 4 and he does not speak any English. And she was also kind of validly concerned about his development and whether he was on track. And you could just see how desperate she was. And so she just showed up, and we said, sure, you can come and participate. And she kind of hung back after the session to talk to me and the other facilitator and said, I'm very concerned about my son. We just moved here. I don't know who to turn to for help. This was the only thing I found. And so we were able to connect her with Project Enlightenment
nice.
for some testing
Right.
and some other resources. And she came back the next week with her son and her husband, and you could just see that like a weight had been lifted. She had an appointment for screening for her son with Project Enlightenment, and just a weight had been lifted, and she kind of was like,
Wow.
I'm going to get some help. My son's going to get some help.
Well, and that's the type of family that we're hoping to serve with Water Prairie, is because you do face that when you go into new areas. You don't know where to even start with it. And especially in this situation, I hadn't thought about our families coming in from out of the country even. So now you have the language and just the cultural barrier. Things are done differently from state to state, much less country to country.
Yep.
So,
Another kind of interesting thing that sometimes happens here is we have our summer camps are for starting at age 3, and so oftentimes
they're young.
So oftentimes we'll be the first thing that a child has done away from their parents and in a group setting. And so sometimes we are able to see differences that the parent might not be aware of yet, and kind of point those out very gently to the parent and connect them immediately with resources that can help them figure out if there is maybe an issue there.
Right. Nice. All right, so the last thing I wanted to ask about was on your website, we talked about that earlier. I noticed that there are some play resources, or there's a tab for that. What's included in that section of the website?
Sure. Not sure what's on there now. And we're actually in the process of redoing our website, but I'll tell you what used to be there.
In general, what might they find in that area?
There is a social story there that will let folks know what it's like to come to Marbles, and they can kind of scroll through and see some pictures of exhibits so kids know what to expect if that's something that they need. You can find our map on there. You can find some of our play posters that have suggestions for ways to play at home that support school readiness and development. That's in English and in Spanish.
Nice.
Our Ready Set School program is also a bilingual program. And then we also have a booklet that we pass out on those family school partnership days that we created in cooperation with the school system, that talks about kind of play prompts for parents for how to play in our exhibits, but also some prompts that the school system helped us write for how to support your child if they have disabilities when they're playing at Marbles.
Oh, nice. Part of what I had seen on there were the home activities. That there were some things to do from home. And because, as you say, play is important. This is, and our parents are listening, the majority of them are going to have younger children. So this is where we're starting from with them. Is and no matter what you may be facing with doctor appointments and physical restrictions, play is still part of growing up, and it's how our children learn. So so that's why I wanted to emphasize that we
also when we had to close the museum, we still wanted to stay connected to our audience and still bring play into kids and families' lives. And so on the very first day that we closed, we started producing play videos that gave kind of prompts and demonstrated how to do some play activities at home. So we would publish at least 3 of those a week for about the first year and a half of the pandemic. And many of those they're on our YouTube channel. Many of those are also closed captioned.
Oh, nice. Nice. So we've listed a lot of resources here. We'll put in the show notes for the podcast and in the description of the video any of the links that we have for these. The book that you had mentioned that you're reading now, definitely will have the website for Marbles, so you can get connected there, and then your YouTube channel as well, so that they can get in there, because I think that'll help them come through. Well, I appreciate you sharing all this with us.
Absolutely.
I think it's a great resource. I'm just a little bit biased because, like I said, I was here when my kids were younger, but also Emily fell in love with it when she was volunteering here. But we have part of all of our interviews, we do what we call the speed round. The speed round is not difficult at all, but it can be that way if you overthink it.
Okay.
So it's a series of 10 questions. The first 3 are open-ended questions.
Okay.
And then the 7 after that are either or.
All right.
And on the either or, if you don't like the choices and really can't choose, you can either say both or pass.
Okay. Or make up my own answer.
Or make up your own, yep.
Okay.
And what we're doing is we're still kind of early in this, but we're going to start charting the answers and seeing where our outliers are, where our common answers are, and we thought it'd be kind of a fun way.
That's fun.
So I'm not timing it.
Okay.
I timed it, I think, for Steve. Did I time it for you? For 30 seconds, and we were way past it. So we decided that we're not going to set a timer anymore.
All right.
All right, so your first 3 questions, open-ended ones. So what is your favorite color?
Black.
And what's the last book that you read?
Power of Fun.
And so you've already answered that one. Your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
So far, everyone has answered either Thanksgiving or Christmas. It'll be interesting to see when we start getting one beyond that. All right, so the rest of these are all either or. I'll give you two words or phrases. You choose which one. So the first one, cake or ice cream?
Cake. Actually, just the frosting.
Ooh, interesting. Batman or Superman?
Neither.
Ooh. She isn't playing fair here. Ocean or mountains?
Mountains, for sure.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
Watch a movie or read a book?
Read a book.
Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Harry Potter.
And Twitter or Instagram?
Instagram.
All right. You actually fell outside of the norm for almost all the questions.
Wow.
that was interesting. So thank you, and I'm hoping that some of our listeners will come and can check it out. If you do come to Marbles, or if you've been before and have information you want to share, leave it in the comments so that we can learn from each other with this. And if you're coming from out of state and come and visit, I'd like to hear what your thoughts were coming in. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I think everyone enjoys a good excuse to go play, and Marbles is a great place to do just that. If you visited Marbles, write your favorite memory in the comments below so others can understand what a special place it is for families. Next week, Tonya finishes her interview with our son Christopher as he talks about how he manages his study and training schedule at college while working through the challenges of dysgraphia, ADHD, and narcolepsy.
You've been listening to the Water Prairie Chronicles. Any resources mentioned during this episode will be posted in the description. If you're interested in joining us as a guest, contact us through the links in the description below. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week for a new episode.